What's up, everybody? Metal Dave here, along with my co-host Jason McMaster, bringing you another episode of the Talk Louder podcast. Today, we are joined by Mike Fitz and Tommy Skeoch of the band Bad Marriage. They are based out of Boston, been around since about 2015. Tommy, of course, you know from his time in Tesla. He was in Tesla for a number of years, put out all those great albums, all those great songs. He recently joined Bad Marriage, and they've written some songs together. There's a couple of them out now. They are currently working on an album together, and they have an upcoming tour with Adrian Vandenberg. So that's about to kick off. They'll be out on the road. So it looks like there's some good chemistry in old Bad Marriage there.
Yeah, hats off to Mike Fitz, because I've done a bunch of gigs with Bad Marriage at this point. The Monsters of Rock Cruise, the Mountain Music Festival in Gatlinburg, and we've done a couple of clubs with them as well. One memorable was in New Bedford, Massachusetts, right down close to where they're from, which is where Mark Lopes of Metal Church Ross the Boss is also from. And as well as Shadows Fall. I mean, that whole scene right there it's big and thick with rockers. So, Bad Marriage is super fun, loud, dirty rock band. Yes. So if any of those words fit your musical tastes, you will like Bad Marriage.
Yeah.
But I was going to say Mike is, we're not close, but he is a go-getter, as they say. Tommy even calls him, he's the social butterfly. He's just, he just walks up to snakes and says, "Hey man, what's up? I know you're a snake, but I'm too crazy to not say hello. Let me buy you a beer." And then, but he's a go-getter. I mean, he seems like it's all about timing, it seems, but he doesn't have any, he's usually on time when doesn't even know he was supposed to be there. He's always there. And so he's meeting people and getting, I want to say that's how he's getting these gigs, just from being jovial and cool. And he's cool. He's a rock and roll motherfucker. So I think that I want to get, and the other guys in Bad Marriage are super nice, but they don't come off the way that Mike does when you talk to Mike. And Mike is just like, I mean, he could manage Bon Jovi or some shit. You know what I mean? He's very...
He's got the gift of gab, as they say.
Well, and he's not dumb, and he knows how to record and write songs and obviously book a tour and promote his band and music. And I mean, he's got something going on. So whatever he's eating for breakfast, I want some.
I'm glad that you mentioned the band as a whole, because obviously today we have Mike and Tommy, but Bad Marriage has been around, like I said, for, I don't know, since 2015. So, and they put out a couple albums and they've done some tours, and that's before Tommy. So kudos to all the guys in the band, other than the two that we're talking to today, because they make the machine roll, and they put out the albums, and they started building the name. So collectively they already had some great chemistry, and then Tommy's kind of the newcomer, and obviously he brings something to the table as well. So they're merging all those skills and talents.
Yeah, we got to talk to them a little bit about how their songwriting comes together now, how it's very common for, each other to trade each other riffs, to trade riffs, whether it be in person or via email or whatever. But when one guy hits the ball over the net and it comes back a bigger ball, a bigger, better ball, and then you hit it back over, and it just, literally turns into this monster of a song or a record or whatever. I feel like hearing these guys talk about how they collaborate now with Tommy as the needed third wheel they didn't know they needed. And I really think that it's interesting to hear them talk about and compliment each other, which is exactly why Tommy's in the band.
Yeah, it's interesting how it works because they were a two guitar band before Tommy joined. So now they're three guitars.
Right.
And trying to make that chemistry work it could be challenging, but it sounds like this was just a piece of cake. I mean, just what they all bring to the table just effortlessly fit together. And their styles are different, which you kind of need. You don't want three guitars sounding exactly the same. So a contrast in styles, but it also needs to blend and be cohesive. And they're able to do that. It sounds like without a whole lot of, teeth gnashing and hair pulling. So so good for them.
Well, obviously they get along, and they had a relationship with Tesla when Tommy wasn't even in Tesla, and
And when he wasn't in Bad Marriage.
yeah, and they still work with Tesla, and obviously they're all simpatico. They're all cool. Tommy's cool with the world, and to go through not being in this band and be known as the guy that's not in that band anymore, doesn't seem that weird to him. Maybe it is, but it doesn't come off that way. And I think that's great. That shows a lot of growth, and it's cool that he's chilling and writing badass rock and roll with Bad Marriage, and that they're staying busy. So that'll save a man too, staying busy.
Yeah,
and being creative. So it's a good episode because you get to see what's going on. You got the old bull and the young bull, and they work off each other, and they need each other, and they didn't even know they needed each other.
Yeah,
so
exactly. It's good to see Tommy so reinvigorated. You could tell he's excited about this whole thing.
I agree.
He's working on his health, and he seems to be doing well. So good for him. And I think they kind of work well together. They're putting out good stuff, and the momentum is up and running. And they got a lot of tour dates and songwriting ahead of them. So, look out. You're going to be hearing about Bad Marriage if you haven't already. And it was great to talk to them today and kind of get an inside glimpse into how things are working. So, Mike Fitz and Tommy Skeoch today from Bad Marriage on the Talk Louder podcast. Bad Marriage, based out of Boston from around 2015, 2016, been around for a while. Tommy's a recent addition to the band. So let's kind of get some of the history, and then we'll bring Tommy in and we'll get around to the current stuff. You've got two albums out as a 5-piece. The self-titled debut, you have a second album called Bad Marriage 2.
Right.
And an EP called Artificial Mind. And so kind of tell us about how you started the band, Mike, and how the albums came about, and then how you and Tommy ended up joining up together.
Right. Well, basically, you're right on. I mean, you have everything pretty much. The albums that we have out, we did have a 6-song EP first, but we only made 100 copies of those. And so those are floating around here and there. But when I started the band, I was just doing solo stuff. I was teaching myself how to record. So I bought a bunch of recording gear, and, a band of mine recently broke up. So I was trying to teach myself how to do it. And I was like, I'm going to start one more band and take everything that I've learned from over the years of being in different bands. And I wanted to handpick all my I guess friends, but people that I knew that were cool, knew that had what it took if we ever did get the opportunity to start touring. And, really, I wanted to put everything in place the best as I could from experience around the New England area. So I basically picked all my guys, that I knew that, hey, man, they either got the look, they're super talented. I've shared many shows with these guys before. So I just kind of went down the line and handpicked everybody. And that's basically how it came together around here. And, we started picking up some steam, and, like I said, I taught myself how to do recording. So I've done basically all the Bad Marriage stuff as far as tracking and mixing and mastering and stuff, until the latest EP, which I'm sure we'll get into for a second. But the Artificial Mind one, it's funny enough, that was Brian Wheat who produced that and co-wrote that with us. But in a nutshell, we put out 2 full lengths as a 5-piece. And then, we had established a pretty good working relationship and friendship with the band Tesla before I even knew Tommy. So that's what led to the Artificial Mind EP, which, I kind of handed the reins off to Brian to produce and engineer and mix. I still mastered that one, but I just kind of let him do his thing with his vision of the band.
Yeah.
So.
I was going to ask because I know that Brian Wheat, bass player for Tesla, produced your EP. And I was wondering if there was anything, and I knew you had a relationship with Tesla. So I was wondering if Tommy joining the band was an awkward situation. But obviously you had that relationship with Tesla before Tommy joined the band. So kind of describe how it is that Tommy came into the picture, because from the outside perspective, someone might think, oh, you're friends with Tesla. It makes sense that Tommy joined the band, but Tommy was out of the band for some time by the time you guys hooked up. So how did you two guys meet?
Yeah. So just to back up a little bit, I mean, we've done probably over 50 shows with Tesla over probably 3 different tours across the country. So we were super fortunate to share the stage with those guys for many years. I think 2019, 20, 21, all different legs of tours and stuff. So we became very friendly with them. I mean, it was to the point where Jeff, the singer, was coming on stage with us every night and doing an old Aerosmith song. I mean, we do like Toys in the Attic or something, and he would jump up there. And, so we built a really cool relationship with those guys. And I didn't know Tommy. And then Bad Marriage was doing the Monsters of Rock cruise a few years back. And Tommy was in a band at the time. And he was also, his band was on the Monsters of Rock cruise. So, I just ran into him. I saw him I think it was at the casino bar that was on the ship. And I go, hey, that's Tommy Skeoch. I'm going to go say what's up. I mean, why not? So I just introduced myself to him. We had a beer together and we just shot the shit, like 2 guitar players do. We talked about guitars and amps and
I'm going to interrupt you, Mike. That's how you are. You're just like that all the time. You just go up to like fucking Sasquatch and go, dude, let me buy you a beer. What's up?
Yeah, well, I think it might have to do with the Boston in me. I don't know. I just kind of that.
No,
I don't give a
shit. I think you got a big heart for rock and roll. You know what you like, and you're very respectful. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that just sounds like the Mike I know. You just being you, walking up to Tommy, going, dude, what's up? So
he's
perfect.
He's like that with everybody, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
A social butterfly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He is.
Well,
it's a good thing.
Jason, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It actually it does mean a lot.
Yeah.
But we just became boys after that. And to be honest with you, we would text and talk and shoot the shit. And it was like we'd known each other forever. I know that might sound cheesy, but it's the truth. And fast forward. We were writing, we did put out a first single with Tommy, and it's called Dangerous. And I had posted that guitar riff, like one of the main riffs to the song, just on my regular Facebook page, my personal page, kind of sharing to my friends and fans, like, hey, this is what I'm working on. And Tommy had loved it. He reached out to me and like, dude, that riff's killer. And I said, look, I don't have any leads or anything written to this. I go, you want to guest on it? You want to mess around with it? Have at it. So he sent me I sent him the initial track. He sent me leads back. I put it into the recording session. It sounded killer. I said, wow, we have something here. He's adding something to this band. I'm not, he wasn't in the band then, but I'm like, this isn't just a third guitar player. This is actually sonically making the sound. I always say more 3D. Me and Ian, our other guitar player, are kind of just these big Les Paul Marshall AC/DC type hit you in the face riff, but Tommy's a different guy, man. He brings stuff that almost like front and back with his whammy stuff and his just technique. So, I mean, I was digging it. That's how that song was born. We got a last minute offer to do 22 dates last July with the Choir Boys and Enough's Enough in the middle of the summer. It was July. It was going to be brutal. We have this little shuttle bus that the AC barely works. And I was cool enough with Tommy. I said, dude, how about you join the band and jump on these 22 shows? There's no money, right? So this guy goes from selling millions and millions of records to a huge band to jumping in a bus with us. And he didn't even blink. And he said, hell yeah, I'll do it. And that's when I was just like, this guy is rock and roll. And, you know, then the next test was he gonna work? Was he gonna like it? Was he gonna, you know, doing that? And hey, he's still with us today. So it proves a lot to me with him and how dedicated and just how rock and roll he is. So that's basically in a nutshell how it came to be.
Yeah, yeah. So Tommy, from your perspective, you heard this song, and then I guess you backtracked and heard some of the previous material. What is it about Bad Marriage? What is it about the music that you thought was a good fit? What suited you?
Well, actually, I heard their material first when I was on the ship, right? When we were rocking out on, and I was in the other band. And then I thought they were really cool, you know, and I knew they had known the Tesla guys and all that. And they just rocked, man. They had a really great feel about them. I just really liked them. And Mike introduced himself to me, like he said. And, you know, when he sent me the song and then that happened, and then it just was like, I don't know. It kind of had a feeling, and it kind of happened naturally too, which I really like about things that I do. Like the band I was in before happened like that. I like it just to kind of grow naturally. And, that's where it seems where I fit in best, I guess.
Yeah. Now, the band you were in before was Resist and Bite, and that band was gaining some traction, man. And so what happened there?
Oh man, you know what? It wasn't good. There was a couple of guys that just got really wide and just started wanting to kind of take it over, and it was just got a little bit weird, man. They were just kind of acting like rock stars. I couldn't deal with it, man. So I left, and that was it. But I was going to fucking rock with that thing. It was good. I mean, It was always tough, but it was good. But that was that, man. And that was it. I left, and that's when Mike asked me to do this. It was right then.
I think the timing was I mean, not perfect for your old band to implode, but at least we picked you up. It's like almost like you just jumped on the road with us, and it was just a good transition for you, I think, just overall.
Definitely was. Yep.
So you have a single out called Penny Man, and Tommy plays on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Tommy's in the band, so he's playing. He's going to play on everything until we sink or swim. But yeah, that's our second single. Like I said, that first one is called Dangerous, and we just released one called The Penny Man. Yeah, and he's spreading his guitar geniusness all over that thing. So yeah,
dude, I fucking love the solo in that song, man. Really, in everything I've been recording on these songs, but that one's just fucking making my eyeballs roll in the back of my head type deal, and I just love that, man. It's just fucking brutal.
So who is the Penny Man? It sounds like a character. It sounds like a song you would base off of some character at the bar or something, or some guy hanging around in the alleyway or something.
Well, yeah, that's more like it. Not really the bar, but kind of the woods. Yeah, it's a funny story, but basically on my time off, or like one of my hobbies, is I like to go metal detecting. Right, I live in the East Coast, very early colonial history here. I like to go in the woods. I like to metal detect. I like finding old stuff, old coins, and I've actually found some pretty rad shit. Wow. One of my buddies, I would check in with every day, and he'd always ask me, what'd you find? I go, a couple old pennies. One day he just said, wow, you like the Penny Man, huh? And I said, honestly, that's fucking cool. And so I started recording videos of me actually digging the stuff up when I found it.
I've seen some of those videos. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? And then I realized that you were legitimately trying to, go spelunking and shit, dig into the dirt and find, what the fuck is this? It's pretty cool. Geraldo Rivera and shit.
So I started introing the videos just because I thought it was funny with this creepy voice. And I would just hit record and just go, it's the Penny Man. And then that was it. And then I would just talk to the whoever was, going to watch it. Like, hey, I got a silver coin here from the 1700s. Check it out. But every video I'd say, it's the Penny Man. So then, I wrote a song one day, and it all came together really fast. And, when I send vocals out, I don't know if you guys know this, whatever, but this is the first song that we put out that I'm singing lead vocals on. and it's usually our singer, Johnny. But, you know, part of our process, since I do all the recording here, is when I send ideas out to the guys, I usually have some sort of vocal on it that I do, whether I have an idea for a chorus, a melody, some lyrics, whatever it is. I send it out to the guys and say, hey, here's what I'm working on. So Tommy was the guy who really started pushing me to sing, because he was like, first time he's like, dude, he calls me, dude, who's singing on that demo you sent? I'm like, dude, it's me. I'm like, just to give you guys an idea. You know, he's like, oh, dude, he's like, you sound totally different from Johnny, but that's a great thing. You know, you should really sing more. And I think it will really, you know, so combined with his Tommy style and my vocals, it just adds a certain heaviness to the band that, you know, wasn't really there. I mean, we're always a hard, heavy rock band, but this is gets a little bit more grim. And I think it's cool. And Tommy pushed me to start singing, and yeah, the Pennyman is me singing it. So that's basically what happened.
You know, I think that John Sykes, it's a similar story. I think when he was putting together Blue Murder, the idea was to get a singer.
Yeah.
You remember that Blue Murder record? That's Sykes singing, and the story went something like, here's the you know, he's in a meeting, and here's the demos, and listen to the demos, and the guys are like, well, who the fuck is this singing? It's just me singing, but it's just ideas for the songs. You know, we're fully planning on getting a singer, and they're like, bullshit, you're gonna sing, bro. This is funny, great. Yeah. And so it's kind of how singers are actually born. I never set out to be a fucking singer. I'm a bass player who just everybody wants me to sing. I guess I'm that fucking horrible on bass. They just made me be the fucking singer. Anyway, that's really cool. And I like hearing, obviously, because it reminded me of a couple other things, the Sykes thing for sure. That's very interesting. Is Johnny all right with having some help?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he is. I mean, I'm sure it threw him for a little bit, Luke, because Johnny he gets so just overstimulated with music and singing. I mean, which is a great thing.
Oh yeah.
You know how many bands I've been in with singers that just weren't around. I'm like, dude, I need you to record it. I mean, when he's here and I throw the mic up, I mean, he won't leave until I kick him out. I mean, he'll stay for hours and hours and hours.
His therapist says, if you put the mic down, you're fucked.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I get it.
It is that is his therapy.
I get it.
Literally, it's his happy place. And so, you know, at the end of the day, I have a lot of material that just doesn't sometimes hit the mark with the Bad Marriage sound as it is, like as people know it, you know, whatever. And I don't want that to go to waste. So in the back of my head is always, even with the Pennyman song, I was saying, you know what, if the guys don't like this, or for some reason it doesn't work, I still have a cool song with me singing on it, and I can put it out. I can just, you know, whatever. But ultimately everyone embraced it. I'm adamant to Johnny, you know, look, I don't want to be a lead singer. I'm not trying to take your job, but I do think that we can write some cool stuff together with my voice complimenting you on this, and maybe taking lead on a song here or there. But we're just experimenting, and I think it's going pretty good. So we're going with it.
It's not the first.
Where it's really happening is when, I mean, the Pennyman thing's great. Mike does a great job. But when they sing together, man, their voices got a thing, man. It's really pretty rad.
Awesome.
I love that. And that's what I really like hearing a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think it's the first time this has ever happened with bands. I mean, they would let Bill Ward sing in Black Sabbath sometimes. He sang the odd song once in a while.
Right.
And it's not like you were, or they were, or anybody is like changing direction by just having this, you know, having this little branch grow this way for a second on a record or something.
Right.
Are you planning on playing that song live?
Yeah. So we've
awesome.
been rehearsing. Yeah, we've been rehearsing the crap out of it, because, you know, me, like every musician, you're your own worst critic. So, you know, I'm here, and I will be the first one to be like, guys, we're not doing this if I don't think I can deliver it vocally. I won't embarrass myself like that. But you know, I think it's been going good. We've been hammering it here. We practice once a week. Obviously, Tommy is in Florida, but he flies in a couple days before, whether we're going out for a couple days or a leg, and then we'll have a rehearsal there before. But he's always prepared on his own. I just give him the lowdown every week after we practice, like, hey, this is what we've been doing. But yeah, so that's the plan. I mean, people seem to dig the song, so we're going to test it out live. I mean, what do we got to lose, really?
Yeah, I was going to ask you to kind of, for people that aren't familiar, to describe your music. And I hear some, I hear all the classic 70s hard rock staples. I hear Aerosmith. I heard a lot of Rhino Bucket in
cool.
some of your music. Yeah. I thought that was rad. But in your own words, you guys tell folks what your music sounds like.
Well, check it out. Now it's this, like the record we've been working on that's going to be the next record. I wouldn't say it sounds nothing like what Bad Marriage sounded like, but it's a little different. It's still got that, but it's a little heavier. It's just got more, double cheeks, balls and all type feel. It's pretty heavy in most spots, I would say.
Yeah. And to touch on something Jason was just mentioning about me entering my vocals, that it's not like totally left field. People were saying that with Tommy. I mean, we had people going, why? You don't know, Bad Marriage is a thing. You don't need Tommy. And there's only a handful of people that were saying that. But, my answer to that was, look, again, we did not add Tommy just because he's Tommy from Tesla or whatever. He's Tommy Skeoch. Like, I heard what he did to these songs and it worked, so, we had, I just wanted to, mention that because we have him coming in, adding his whole different flair. I mean, it is different because he's adding a whole different thing to it. He's got a whole different style. Like, I didn't want another me, 50 or Ian, just to add, like, we don't need that, so what he brings is just different than what me and Ian deliver. So it's pretty cool. And I think, like, if I sounded like Johnny vocally, it wouldn't do anything for us. And I don't think I do at all. So I think it's going to be cool. Like Tommy was saying, I'm singing a lot more with Johnny on these newer songs on the new album. So you'll hear a little Jekyll and Hyde. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and same, like, back to Tommy. When Tommy joins, it's sort of like okay, we got this cool band, and then hey, I got this buddy, and he's gonna, oh shit, the stuff that he added, it's like having the co-writer in the band. Like, you started collaborating with somebody, and then it just kind of lifted the spirit of what you already had going on in a way. Totally. Like, you didn't know something was missing until you heard what Tommy would go, hey, try this thing. I'm just here innocently, and holy shit, it went boing,
Right.
I got to say, everything I've done on it, I fucking love everything, man. I really like the songs. Pretty awesome.
So you seem totally happy and comfortable with being the third wheel. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking you're helping create this new monster. Monsters don't normally just have 2 legs and 2 arms. You know what I mean? Monsters are usually fucked up somehow, and so you want it to be fucked up somehow, so it attracts the correct attention.
Dude, listen to my solo in Pennyman and your eyes will roll in the back of your head.
I can't wait. I love it when my eyes roll back in my head.
This conversation reminds me, I remember reading somewhere, someone once described the guitar chemistry in Tesla between Tommy and Frank. They nicknamed you guys Mess and Finesse.
Yeah.
And I think Finesse would have been Frank and Mess would have been Tommy. And that's not a derogatory thing at all. But when you bring that to Bad Marriage, I'm guessing that's kind of what we're talking about here. You brought in a layer that wasn't already there, and it's your own style, and it works well with the foundation that was already in.
I don't know. Mike's writing a lot of the songs, and I'm writing a couple of them here and there, but I'm just kind of playing through these songs, just kind of swirling through them and just pretty fucking swervy. It's pretty fun. And when you hear it, you'll know what I mean by that. It's fucking rocking though, man. It's a lot of fun. I'm having a ton of fun with it. And it's just fucking attitude, guitar stuff a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's great to see you so reinvigorated, man. I can tell just by looking at you and listening to you that you're fired up, dude. And that's awesome.
Yeah,
and
that's
I really like the band a lot. They're really great guys, and it's been a great experience, man.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
finding your happy place. I mean, I would imagine that you and me, Tommy, are close to the same age, and it's like finding your being happy at, you know, entering your 60s is good,
Yeah.
especially when it's rock and roll based, and
Yeah.
it's what you do and it's what you've done, and just finding a place to land and sort of ride it out. I'll take whatever comes my way now because I'm smiling. So
It took me a long time, man, to get through a lot of different things to get to where I'm like okay in my skin. And
Yeah.
I'm finally there. I'm 62, but I mean, I complain to Mike and talk all kinds of shit, but I mean, for me, man, I'm doing pretty fucking good now. Yeah.
awesome. Awesome. That's great. Well, it sounds to me like, back to the sound, it's like Bad Marriage just sounds like a mess, you know, referring to the mess and finesse Tesla thing. Yeah. It's like, well, Bad Marriage just wasn't messy enough, so they had to fuck it up some more and get you on top of it.
Right.
So
they were pretty swarthy, man. I don't know, man, but yeah, I definitely got a swerve going in there. You got to check it out.
good. So you added some slime on top. That's good.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. It again. I mean, it is so cool to have him next to me on stage too. I mean, we're buddies now. I mean, I can yell at him. He's no longer big Tommy Skeoch, man. But you know, me and him go back and forth.
You
and bust
can yell
each
at me.
balls.
I fucking yell at you, dude. What are you talking about? Every day.
Yeah, that's just
fucking brutal, dude.
They're yelling at each other right now.
Oh yeah, I'm yelling, dude. You're too loud. Turn that shit. I'll yell, tune your fucking guitar. He fucking hates me. Oh, we have a blast. We have a blast.
I'm not even going to tell him the things that we say.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But
Bad Marriage is Bad Marriage.
Yeah, you.
But honestly, still and we're rocking out though, and me like looking over my shoulder and seeing him on the stage rocking to our songs. There's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. And when we're all on, the six of us, it's just that's our nirvana. So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Hopefully we can keep it going.
You're about to spend a lot of time together in close quarters because you're about to go on tour with Adrian Vandenberg, which is awesome. Yeah. Talk about somebody I'm really happy to see back on stage and back in the limelight. That guy I always thought was super underrated, great guitar player. And he's out playing, you know, his hits with Vandenberg and of course Whitesnake. And I think you guys make a great pair out on the road together. So tell us, how did that come about? When does it kick off? And where all are you going? Yeah,
I actually I'm a huge fan too. I mean, like his latest record. Well, it might not be his most recent, but the 2020 album. It's called 2020. Phenomenal. I crank it all the time. The riffs, I mean, it's just so good. But I hung out with his manager, Johan, and I met him, and we became buddies on Monsters on the Mountain the last time, and Bad Marriage played that festival, and I just became friendly with him, and then we reconnected on the Monsters of Rock cruise. We sat down for coffee. He wanted to know what's going on, if he could help in any way. I told him that we were getting Tommy in the band, or he might have just joined, I forget. And he was intrigued by that. And I said, look, if anything ever, you ever need Bad Marriage, we'd love to support Vandenberg. I think, it'd be incredible. And he hit me up and, he said, hey, I got an East Coast run. We'd love to have you guys as direct support. And I was psyched. I was floored. So yeah, that's basically how it happened. I did meet Adrian. He introduced me to him briefly on the cruise, and he was a kick-ass dude. And I think it's going to be really fun.
Tommy, do you have any history with Adrian from back in your Tesla days? Did you guys ever?
You know what? Not really. Other than I think I met him at a Whitesnake show, maybe when he came through Sacramento one time, and I'm not even sure, man. I wasn't behaving myself now. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't remember a lot of shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, you'll probably remember this tour at least.
I think I did meet him though, actually in Sacramento one time.
Yeah, and I mean, Bad Marriage has had some really notable tours. You've mentioned already Tesla. I know you went out with Buck Cherry. You went out with Glenn Hughes. I saw in doing my research, I went to your website and I saw you did a radio interview with some guy, I guess in your area, and you were talking about a show you did with Eddie Money, and that. Yeah. Now, there's a name that doesn't get mentioned enough on this show, so I want you to tell me about opening for Eddie Money and what was that like?
That was absolutely amazing. I mean, after that show, he was so cool, and it was just so like mind blowing to me and our guys. We have a song, one of our songs, and in the middle of it, we started breaking into "Shaken" by Eddie Money, just because it just worked, and we just, I don't know, we just felt we needed to do it. But it was in Boston. We got the call, and again, this was when Bad Marriage was kind of coming up. It was before we were touring. We had got any tour offers, but any national that would come through New England, we were one of the rock bands that would get a call because we had a decent fan base around here, and so we got to. I mean, Scott Weiland was another one. We got to play with him, I think 9 days before he died, so that was a trip. But anyway. The Eddie Money thing, he all of a sudden, we were just sitting in our dressing room or very early. And he just kicks open the door like Rodney Dangerfield. That's all I could think. And he just kind of was like, so Bad Marriage, huh? That's the best. He goes, that's the best fucking name I've ever heard. He goes, I'm going through one myself. And then he left. And so we're all looking at each other, was like, did Eddie Money just come in here and just say we have the best name and he's going through a bad marriage? I mean, it was just surreal. The guy was hilarious. He was super funny. And, it's just a show we'll always remember.
Yeah.
Not to derail or anything, but isn't Eddie Money from New England?
I think he was from New York.
New York.
Yeah,
Didn't he used to be a New York cop?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's got to be a memorable moment. I love that story about him.
Hilarious.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So funny.
Tommy, I wanted to ask you, I was at the 1987 Texas Jam, and you guys were on the bill, of course. So it was Boston Aerosmith. It was Boston Aerosmith.
Boston.
Whitesnake, and Tesla and Poison.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to that show. It was my first Texas Jam, and it was my first experience in a crowd that large, I think. And I remember thinking naively, I'm thinking Aerosmith's my band, dude. So I'm going to get in there and I'm going to push my way all the way down front, and I'm going to hang on tight, and I'm going to be front row for Aerosmith when they come on 8 hours later or something like that. So I'm down there just dying, dude, just dying, because it was 100 degrees that day, and we're all packed in there, 85,000 people.
It was hot
in Dallas, and Poison brought out Paul Stanley, and so I was trying to retreat and get into a safe location because I was done already. I was done during Poison set. There was no way I was going to make it to Aerosmith. And then they bring out Paul Stanley, and he comes out, of course, street clothes, and they do Strutter. And so I got to stay, right? So I stayed there. But my question to you is, what do you remember about that gig? Because that was early on in Tesla's sort of ride to the top. And I'm sure for you guys, that had to be a huge, huge deal.
It was. I just remember because I broke my leg before it, and I was up there in a cast when we did it. And I don't know if you remember.
Yeah. That's right.
But that was kind of fucked. But it was that was the first big stadium show we ever did. And you guys were talking about Eddie's Money. I wanted to say he was actually the first big name that Tesla opened for.
Wow.
Was Money. Way back in the day.
That's ironic.
It's just, that's interesting that Mike told that story. And Mike, now I know why you guys do Shaken. You never told me this,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
anyway.
Is that the nicotine gum, the pack that you're chewing on?
Oh, I'm chewing them like 10 motherfuckers right now, dude.
Trying to quit.
Oh,
Jesus,
you quit?
I quit smoking, and it's like a fish out of water every day. I'm just fucking lost, man. So I play guitar all day because I don't know what else to do with myself. And if I just sit there for a minute, I just go back to the guitar. But now I'm doing this, so I'm eating the fuck out of these nicotine pouches.
Like, guys, I cannot believe that he quit smoking. It is the most awesome thing. I mean, I've never smoked cigarettes, right? But I know plenty of people that do and stuff. But Tommy, if I was a betting man, I'm sorry, buddy, but I would have bet that you couldn't, because all of the time I've spent with you, the fact that you quit and it's been a month, I
knew
can't
I
believe-
would be. I knew I would. That's why I finally stopped you guys, just because I could feel it was fucking killing me, and that's what made me stop. And it's better now, but I knew I would. I told you.
Unbelievable. I can't believe it.
Well, I hear it's
Congratulations.
really fucking hard.
It is.
Quit.
It's hard to. I've
hard.
been quit now for 2 months, and I'm still. If I didn't take these nicotine pouches, I'd be dead. I'm serious, man. I don't think I
Wow.
could handle it. I've come off some heavy shit myself, but
Wow.
this is.
hear-
It's like a life. It's like a whole life change for me.
Oh, of course.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Totally.
Congratulations, and
Yeah,
and
man.
keep it up, man. That's
Keep
great.
raising-
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
doing it because I have to. Though I could feel the COPD, and it's gotten better though in the last 2 months. I gotta say.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, back to Texas Jam real quick. Besides having a broken leg,
Yeah.
was there anything memorable about that day for you guys? I mean, you must have come off stage and looked at each other and went, "Did that just happen?"
Yeah, kind of like that. My broken leg was a bummer for me, but we had been touring for a while, and we were by no means jaded. It was our first year or two out there, but I remember CC DeVille jumping in. There was like a big pond thing in the back with a big fountain in the middle. I remember when they were done, he came back and jumped in that motherfucker, man. And I wish I had done that because it was fucking hot.
It was hot. It was.
Yeah.
You would have fucked up your cast, bro.
Oh man, I mean, that was funny though. Yeah, CC's funny. We toured with them later on. I did a whole 9-month tour in the '89 or something, but so they became friends.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. What ultimately led to you leaving Tesla? I mean, it's been kind of reported here and there, but I want to hear from the man himself.
Basically, man. Basically, I was doing a lot of dope in a nutshell, just too much dope, and I was kind of becoming a little disillusioned towards the end, although I wouldn't have left because, I wanted to make the extra ducats, right? But it's not a good reason to stay either. So I just got fucked up, man. And so they just got tired of it. And they said, "Fuck you, man." And I said, "Yeah, I get it,
Yeah.
And that was that. And it was, I told Mike the other day, I think I retired for like 15 years, kind of,
Yeah, you did kind of disappear, at least from the
I mean,
public
I
eye.
still made like some stupid solo punk records I made, and I played guitar and, I played, but yeah, I didn't really do anything internationally or nothing like that.
Yeah. Each of you guys, we'll start with Mike. What got you hooked on rock and roll? Was it an album?
Me, I mean,
Was it
dude,
a first concert? What was it?
it was my dad's jukebox when this, he's no longer with us, but like when him and my mom were actually married, I only have very little. I was really young before they got divorced. But one of the only things I remember is that jukebox, and I still have it. It's in storage. It got sold to somebody after he passed or whatever, and then I got it back recently, and I got to fix it. But it's a 1950s Seaberg. It's so badass. But Anyway, it's just instilled in my head the opening riff, and I remember hearing it on that jukebox numerous times. The opening riff to Led Zeppelin's Heartbreaker. Just that down, that's just literally just a Les, I don't know, I think a Les Paul by Zeppelin too, but it just sounded so thick and so clean and so heavy. It just blew my little pea brain when I was a kid. I couldn't wrap my head around it. And then my mom would just throughout her years just always crank like Fleetwood Mac, and I loved it. And she'd always dressed like Stevie Nicks. She was into that whole like witchy like thing. And it was almost magical to me, that whole, side of rock and roll. And I guess the Zeppelin and Fleetwood Mac was when I first heard the sounds of it sonically and was like kind of mesmerized by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I was young. I didn't pick up a guitar until sophomore in high school. And I think, that was just, obviously, it was the tail end of all the 80s, and it was when like Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and then Rage Against the Machine was a thing. And, those type of bands were kind of, it was just, I got a little of everything, the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I think that's really what's helped me kind of stay true to classic stuff in our music, but still have a touch of modern stuff, which I think you kind of have to, you know. So I don't know. I just I love a lot of different genres and in decades of music.
Dude,
The
riff is a fucking eye roller, son.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
interesting that you say that because we were talking earlier about the Pennyman, and you were talking about it being a bit of a contrast to your typical Bad Marriage sound. And I was going to say also that, yeah, it kind of does have sort of the dark overtones of maybe a Soundgarden or an Alice in Chains kind of in there a little bit.
Total 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I've mentioned that. I've mentioned those references with that song a few different times to the guys. Yeah.
Yeah, right on. Tommy, what about you? What got you hooked on rock and roll?
What's that?
What got you hooked on rock and roll?
Man, same thing with Mike. Listening to music. I mean, I always heard music growing up, and I was always fascinated with it. We had a piano. I fucked with that thing. And then my mom got me a guitar for a Christmas present, and man, I just freaked out on just like the like when I actually had a guitar and it plugged into an amp. That feeling, even if I couldn't play it, was fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't even need to fucking know how to play it. I loved it immediately. And that was it, man. So my mom really helped me hook up. I mean, I don't know if I would have ever gone there without her ever like asked to get a guitar or whatever. Or maybe I would have, but she hooked me up because, you know, I guess I don't remember ever telling her if I was like into music or anything, but I did love it. I was fascinated by it. Anyway, she got me the guitar, and man, fuck yeah.
What was your first record, like that you bought with your own money?
Very first record was Elton John's Greatest Hits, and the second one was Kiss Alive.
Yeah,
I know that. And then after that, I don't know, it gets sketchy. I saw Judas Priest live, and after that, man, I just went bonkers metal and shit. I'm fucking doing like, holy fuck.
You can kind of do no wrong with
but those are the first two.
With that succession, you can do no wrong. Elton John, Kiss, and Judas Priest. You're kind of like, uh-oh.
Oh, man.
The world is your oyster now.
In front of the mirror with like a fucking tennis racket and forgetting I was rocking and shit like that. I was nuts, man.
Love it.
Now, Tommy, would you say that Judas Priest is your favorite metal band or band of all time?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I would have never known that, Tommy, that Priest, you were a Priest.
I don't think I would have either.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I grew up listening to everything. I was a punk rocker. I love it all. But my favorite thing, I think, is the Priest, man. When I saw them, I had never heard them until I saw them live.
Wow.
And that was like in what was that? Maybe 79 or 80 or something.
Do you remember the show?
Yep. Memorial Auditorium in Sacramento, yeah.
Who were they playing with?
With UFO.
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable. Fuck.
Wow.
Unbelievable, man. And UFO, of course, I knew about, and I loved Michael Schenker out, you know.
Yeah.
And then,
was Priest supporting UFO or the other way around?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep.
And what year was that?
It was back right around when they put out Unleashed in the East and that kind of area.
Yeah, 77 or 78, maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we're close to Hellbent for Leather tour.
That came, yep.
My first concert was UFO. It was Max Webster, UFO, and Rush.
Love Max Webster, man.
Yeah, and that would have been in 77, and I was 12.
Fucking Max Webster. I haven't thought about that for a while. That guy, those guys are freaks, man.
Yeah, Canadian. They were friends with Rush, so
yeah, totally.
But I mean, I got being 12 years old and not really, I didn't know any of the guys' names in the band, but I walked away learning who Michael Schenker was.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was there to see Rush, but because I knew all their shit,
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So where are we on the timeline with this new album? You guys are talking about you're already writing. When might that album be available? You're about to get busy with the tour, so that might delay things, but tell us.
Yeah, man, we're close, real close. I mean, it's been too long. I mean, I always say every year we got to put out more music. We got to keep hammering people with, to stay relevant, just with how hard it is as an original upcoming band to try and even stay relevant. But the tunes are there, man. We have a lot of tunes. I'd say the tracking of I'd say at least 10 to 12 songs are probably 90% done. Some of them are even mixed. I mean, like the Pennyman's done. That's in a folder of, it's just gonna be on the record. You know, Dangerous is done. That's gonna be on the record. Yeah. We actually are redoing a song of Tommy's old, when he says he was he wrote some shitty punk solo records. Well, I don't think they're shitty at all. And I think they're absolute gold.
One, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So there's some on there that are so badass that we're going to have Bad Marriage kind of put their
spin
2 cents on, 2 cents on. So yeah, one of those is going to be on the album, which we've been playing live, and it's been just getting an unbelievable response.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're close, man. It's in my hands now. You know, there's very little tracking left to do. I just gotta keep chipping away at mixing them. And then, you know, but it's coming together. We're hoping by the end of the year, we'll drop another single or two. And then with that, whatever last single we do, we'll put out the CD and vinyl, you know, whatever.
I'm coming up to redo a bunch of shit.
No, you're not.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Bad Marriage is about to go bad marriage on
Here we
us.
go.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Day in life.
When he was smoking all the time, like, you know, it really pissed me off. I would be like at the mouse and keyboard, like after he would play a part, and I would go, oh, and I would like kind of like fix it a little bit and make it good. And I go, oh, isn't that sound badass, Tom? And I turn around and he's gone outside my door smoking. And then 5 minutes later, what do you think about that, Tom? Oh, he's out smoking.
Oh, my smoking breaks are not 5 minutes. Tell the truth. They're about a minute. I torque that thing down and put it out before it's even halfway done.
Yeah, that's true. But I was not happy with you when I had to turn around every time and you weren't there.
Well, now that he's quit smoking, he's going to be like a parrot on your shoulder the whole time.
Yeah, I know. I got to be careful. I got to be careful what I wish for.
Smoking?
Say that again?
Didn't we do a session without me smoking when I was there last time, or was I smoking?
Yeah, I don't think you were smoking. So yeah, but
okay, I don't remember.
But yeah, anyway, the record's almost there, man. We're super psyched about it. So we got a couple shows next month that we're looking forward to. We got a couple dates with Trickster. We're doing a festival in Lake George, New York, with Trickster and Ted Poley and the singer from Tora Tora. I always forget his name.
Anthony. Yeah,
Anthony
Porter.
Anthony Porter, yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. Then we're doing the Monsters. What else we're doing? We're going to Myrtle Beach with Trickster. We're doing a show there. We're doing, and then we're doing that Monsters on the Mountain Festival again, which will be pretty rad.
With Jason.
Yeah. I get to bother him for a little bit.
Yep, good.
Next thing you know,
you are
Jason's
welcome to bother me.
Marriage.
Yeah. Stairway to 7, Jason.
Yep. Mike has bothered me many times, and I do not mind.
Yeah.
Well, guys, man, we appreciate you taking time to spend with us today. Wish you continued success with your music, and Tommy with your non-smoking. Congratulations on that. The tour with Vandenberg is going to be amazing.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, that really sounds cool. And for anyone out there watching or listening that hasn't heard Bad Marriage yet, do yourself a favor. Go check them out. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube and a new album upcoming here shortly. So congratulations, guys, man. We do appreciate you being with us. On behalf of my co-host, Jason McMaster, I'm Metal Dave, along with our special guests, Mike Fitz and Tommy Skeoch from Bad Marriage on the Talk Louder podcast.
Hell yeah.